space in these leg pits. So let's have a wider step. So when I work with people, what always strikes me, two things. They don't sink enough, and then minds are noisy, so they don't meditate enough. So when I sink, this space here opens up. I really want to be able to get right down. It feels obviously like a big space is opening up between your legs, but more specifically, it's like two places either side open up. When you sink, you sort of become single-weighted in the sense of splitting into two. It's strange because you'd expect to be eminently double-weighted with not being able to get the weight into either foot 100%. But actually, you really split into the legs. So you want this feeling that there are two holes here, but also you really want to feel the foot. So this foot pulls me across, this, especially the empty foot. So another thing that I notice when I work with people is that when they transfer their weight into one foot, when you look at them, the weighted side is very much dominant in their mind, almost like they've forgotten that they have a presence here at all. We want it to be the other way around. So when I come into this foot really opens up and wakes up. Almost like a greedy part of your mind, you see something and you want it. So that's a bit like this foot. One leg is bent, one leg is straight. Feel this really opening here. I think it's got a lot to do, the tendon that stops your legs from really being able to open wide. So it's really, I think, all the limiting factors that prevent you being able to get into a proper cross-legged posture when you're sitting, into lotus especially. So just with your hand that's reaching, just try and get down into the legs. So here I really want the hand to be able to get at least as low as my knee, especially when we do the form. I think it's a riding horse now. But again, just the feeling that your thighs are really pushing away from each other. So there's an openness here. It's a difficult openness because it really has to be maintained with almost like a fierceness. It's just spirit, really. It's an openness that requires spirit, but an openness that also brings the spirit up. And now let's just breathe. But really feeling here that you're pulling into the belly. So you can do either breathing. You can do normal breathing or reverse breathing. If you do reverse breathing, then you would breathe in here and then breathe out here. So the centripetal. I'm seeking a center. And then let's just turn with it. So center when you pull in, turning to the side as you breathe out. So just bring your mind to the feet. Your feet are trying to do the same as what the hands are doing. Here, my 2 feet are trying to push away from each other. And that's making me turn. And then here, my 2 feet are trying to pull towards each other. And that's making me come back to the front. And then they push away. So this foot is trying to go that way, and this foot is trying to go that way. Riding horse again. And now making the circles with the arms. I'm just making a big circle like this, one with each hand, but we'll just try one to start with, just to clarify it. So my hand reaches forwards. Now what I want to do is lengthen down the arm into the hand. I want to keep on opening here at the shoulder until the hand starts coming in towards the back. Using my right hand, I'm turning to the left. I need to keep turning to the left until I get a real sense that my fingers are pointing in this direction, only a little bit, and then I turn back to the right. Now here, what I want to do is bring the hand down to this point, that where we wanted the 2 holes, because I want to just scoop into this place, just to help establish it as a very lively emptiness. Reaching forwards, so a sense that I've turned so much that the circle is coming back on itself. And then I just turn here, and the hand turns to face up, and I just open here. You don't have to touch this place. You can just get a sense that the back of your hand is brushing the inside of your thigh, just to help the knee go out. So what you don't want to do is bring the weight into that foot too soon. So I'm in this leg, I reach forwards, and then I just turn here. And this hand just goes past the knee and then forwards again. Really feeling it coming out at the back of the shoulder. The shoulder blade is sort of pulling away from the spine. And then let's try some with the other hand, just to get it going, and then here. So this is like the arm. And then I bring it into the body and let it go down the leg. So upper body and lower body. And then let's get both together. So here this hand comes in. So you can just think of it tracing the figure of 8 around the foot. So as the hand comes in down towards the leg, you're going around the heel. And then as the hand reaches up, you're going around the toes. So outside edge is parallel. Now, when you get down really deeply into riding horse, then you can sort of bring the toes out. But without the outside edges parallel, it just won't release around the sacrum. We just want this whole area, top of the legs, sacrum, hip bones, lower back, to just be very, very loose, like there's real freedom between the bones. People don't like that at all because they normally construct themselves from the tension that they've established here. So when all this frees up and opens up, it's difficult. We've got a circle this way. Now I just want a circle like this. It's just openness in the joint here, really. So I just lean over into this foot a little bit and just reach up, like I'm going to pull the rope, yeah, but then I just go out and scoop down, and then this hand goes up. Again, I just want that real release in the shoulder, like almost like my arm's going to come off. And I have to keep the weight in this foot at least until the hand is almost at the bottom. So a lot of what we're doing now relies upon the weight not moving too soon. The weight is really dithering, it's lingering. So my weight is in this foot and it only comes out because the arm drags it. Feel this openness here. So what you would like is for it similarly to feel open here. So you have to stay in this foot, otherwise your weight will crush all this together. The release that I enable here with my mind also lets the leg fall away from the sacrum. So remember, the hip joint, the hip bone, is part of the leg. So I have to help it a bit by pushing out with my knee, the same way I'm helping by throwing the arm up in the air. So the knee is pulling my hip bone away from the sacrum, and then that drags my weight in. A bit narrower now. Just want to feel the sacrum. So the sacrum is this triangular bone. So what you want to be able to do is just tip the spine until one side of the sacrum has become horizontal. So I'm just coming into this foot and just tipping over like this. I get a sense that my sacrum is now resting on one of its sides. And then I just come back up. I feel the tail hanging down, which is my sense of verticality. And then I just rest. It's almost like I just lie down on my side, but keeping my attention on the sacrum, really have a sense of its shape, its mass. So make sure you bend the leg in order to go into it. And just start bringing the heel off the ground. Feel this arm, it's just loose, it can just swing. Body awareness, so just really aware of our own structure, the joints between the bones, the shape of the bones, and your tension. So wherever you get tense, is it necessary? And now just lifting the foot and then just placing it down, but really gently, toes down first. And then I sort of suck myself into the foot. Trying to keep it all relaxed across the sacrum, where the sacrum joins onto the hip bone. And now just trying, just do this. Let's just try just this again a little bit. Up and over. Now we'd like to be able to do that like with the leg. I bring my leg up as high as I can, my foot, and then I just reach out with it and then place it down. And it's like I'm continuing the circle, and that brings me into that leg. So this foot comes in, it just comes up the leg, and then it just reaches out and then down, and then it scoops the ground. Yeah, so you can do these circles as big or as small as you like. Just takes a bit of practice, because when you bring the foot up and start moving it around, your center of gravity is effectively shifting because the leg that comes up is heavy. So when I send this foot out here, I have to move this way a little bit with my body just to keep myself in the outside edge of this foot. So it just takes practice until you get familiar with it. Same thing, but now just with a small circle. So I just bring the foot in, I just lift it no higher than the knee, and then just out. And then as it goes down, it's doing this. And it's that brings me into the foot. So the foot goes down really softly and gently. And it's only right at the last minute that the heel goes down. Pulling the ground with the empty leg, the leg that's just coming down softly. And it's that moves the body. Same thing, but just walking with it. I lift the foot. So it's like I'm doing this. Now the circle is on this plane rather than out to the side like this. I lift the foot up. I extend it out. And as it goes down, it's now turning, pulling like this. And so that draws me into it. And then this foot comes up. I'll just start going in a circle. backwards and forwards. So this is just basically bringing our weight into the front foot when we do the form. So let's say I've just done that step. I've reached out with I put my toes down. And now I just want this feeling that I'm sweeping out with the knee and scooping around the front foot. Heel goes down really softly, cushioned by the grip that I have the ground under with the front of my foot. And then as the heel goes down, I'm going this way around the foot, back into the front of the foot, the toes. So that's this knee rounding out. And we want to try and make it real. So it's not just something that's going on in the mind. So you get the heel down. That's difficult enough without bringing the weight forwards. This space here just has to open up. So I really have to sink a little bit more so that I can get this roundness in the legs without bringing the weight forwards yet. I open here, and then it's just the knee trying to make this semicircle that draws me around into the foot, sufficient for the back foot to come off the ground. So it's difficult because, you know, when we come into the front foot in Tai Chi, we're 70-30, and yet I have to be able to bring up the back foot. It's not a matter of putting my weight in places like this. It's more like that sort of elastic grip that you have your front foot under, which is established by this loop. It's like a lasso. It's like you've thrown a lasso around the foot. And then you can just tighten that lasso, sort of yank it to get the noose around the neck of the steer. And then this foot can come up without you having to lunge like this. Just pick up the foot and just place it down, toes first. Again, I have to sink into this foot a little bit more to get the heel down. As soon as the heel goes down, I'm circling like this, and that draws me into the foot. And I can then just tighten that circle up like this, and that will allow this foot to come up. So let's try the other leg. So I just lift the knee and the foot. I place the foot down. So just feel it. We're so used to just putting the weight in the foot as soon as the foot goes down. I really have to hold myself back here so I can get those toes down. And then something in me has to open up and intensify even more to get the heel down without bringing the weight into it. I want to make sure I get into the foot by taking the right path, which is round about. I get the heel down, and now I'm going around like this and then just really tightening it in here. And that enables this foot to come up. That's it. Heel goes down, I come around. And now let's try stepping back with this foot. So this foot comes up. I now step back with it. And then again, the heel goes down. I circle like this, and this foot comes up. And now let's just step back with this leg. So up, toes down, and then around the foot. Bringing the foot up is easier because you can get 100% in the back leg. And then let's step forward to this one. And now step forward to this one. So I want the rounding of the knee, the circling around this foot, not simply to draw me into the leg, but to open this space up. I'm creating a hole for the other person to fall into. I'm creating a yielding hole. I put the heel down, and as it goes down, I'm going around it, but this is really opening up here. So I have to stay in the back leg as long as is humanly possible. So it just takes a lot of concentration. And it's just really difficult because this whole structure has to really loosen up, and that takes a long time. You know, one needs to practice it a lot before you even feel anything happening structurally. And stepping forward to this one again. Let's try this foot forward. So now just going backwards and forwards. But you want that feel of energy. So what that really means is that you're really sort of almost like lazy movement. You're sort of lagging behind. So I'm only going to come forwards when I feel this foot really dragging me. And then I'm really only going to move backwards when this foot has really pulled. So again, I want it to be this. So it's not me doing this to pull in. It's me doing this to pull in. So the way we were doing these circles here. So I wasn't reaching out and pulling like this. It's not like pulling a rope. This starts pulling in here, and then my body follows. What you can do, a little mechanism that will help it start, is just lifting the heel a little bit. So here I just lift this heel, and that's just enough to start the knee rounding out and pulling at the joints. It feels like you're just activating the ligaments, the stretchy, rubbery quality that's in the ligaments, in the stuff that's holding your bones together. So when I come back to riding horse, I don't come back to the one, I come back to the two legs, the two arms, the sacrum splitting into two, the mid-back splitting into two. And that's what I really want to have my mind with. So to split into two, it just requires spirit. It requires something in you just bursts open, and then you fall apart. You fall into your component parts. Okay, now let's try a bit of the form so that we can get the next bit in. So let's face this way because we end up facing this way. Up to the second brush knee and push. Then here, when I come into this foot, this hand just sweeps the knee. So I stay in this back leg as long as I can. And it's only really as the arm starts coming up that I come into the front foot. I only really need that front foot as this hand is scooping down. Let's start again. So just all the way through, and you step with the foot, make sure it's the knee rounding out that draws you into it. Round out the knee. Again, as you turn here, really get the knees to round out. So every opportunity, you're opening your knees. And then here's this knee. Now just lift the back heel a little bit, and that will just start sucking you back into rollback. Then lift the front knee a little bit to draw yourself back into the press. Lift up the back heel to pull you into the back foot, yielding with the left hand, attacking with the right. Then lift the front heel to pull you into the front foot, yielding with the right, attacking with the left. Lift this heel at the beginning of single whip. Then lift this heel to draw you into the leg. And then here, this knee goes out. So I need to stay in the back leg. Try and feel like you're really getting down into your legs. So my hands are almost reaching my knees. Rounding out this knee. The shoulder stroke. Again, rounding out the knee. Brushing the knee. And then this hand brushes the knee. A little adjustment step. Yield. So now just the next bit. So just make sure your outside edge is forwards. So I'm just doing this action. I'm scooping something out of the way. Think of it as a kick. So imagine someone's kicking for your groin and you're just sweeping the leg out of the way, and then you just So I'm really going over the top here. It's not just coming down like this, it's going over the top of something. So again, this joint is really opening up. This knee rounding out that's taking me into that foot and swinging everything up. So it's like both hands are involved in the same circle. Scoop, come into this foot here. Think of kicking here, or you can just send the foot out. And then as you sink into this foot, again, it rounds out here. It's rounding out. So this fist is sort of doing this. It's not just coming down like this. It's sort of doing this as you come into the leg. Yield. So, and then again, this leg is doing this, yeah? So you can even think of the hand coming down to help it. When you yield, you have to spring open. Something in you has to really sort of sink in order to spring the joints open. So I open up, and then here I'm scooping into this foot. And then this has got this sort of feeling, I mean, all the way through, it's really figures of eights. You know, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Bring it to attention. Just very delicate, like you've got this tail hanging down and you're just trying to get it swinging a little bit. So do you remember the 10th lesson? So the final lesson of the first term of the short form. John was always well aware that quite a few of the people wouldn't come back for the second term. And so he would come in at the end of the class and just give a little sort of motivational talk, put his teaching into a nutshell, really. So he generally used to talk about what he called like the three virtues. So faith, sincerity, and courage. So he would talk a little bit about each one, showing how basically the same as faith, hope, and charity. But then he would finish off by saying that his favorite word, the word that really summed up what he was looking for, was delight. So just this feeling of sparkly, exquisite spirit, very, very light and tender, and a coarse person, it would just pass them by. They just wouldn't notice it because they'd be half asleep. So the thing he used to love most was me reading Emily Dickinson to him. And you know, I've read the first few lines and the tears would just come into his eyes and he would just be like in heaven. But this really trembling, difficult sensation of being on the edge of bursting into tears or breaking or falling down. So that's the feeling here. You've lost all desire to straighten your legs and thrust yourself into the world. You really want to be at that tender, equilibrating edge between you just falling, really. Because that's where energy is most likely to manifest, especially spirit. Let's just try that mudra again. So it's like prayer posture, but you just bend at your knuckles, keep the fingers straight, and just bring the thumbs inside. So they're between the index finger and the middle finger. And then you just bring that up to opposite the thymus. And it's just like a little house, like a little space, really, that the energy can collect, gather, and pool inside this little house, this hut.